Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Let's get this mic test. Mic test. Check it out. 1, 2, 3. XRP. What you gonna do? Hey, so can you guys type in the chat yes if you could hear me? Sweet dealio. Sweet. Excellent. Why is everything in the red except XRP? Does that mean XRP is sucking the living life force out of every single coin? We do know that XRP is the last standing man when it comes to the bull market ending, right? Dogecoin? It must hurt if you haven't bought any Dogecoin. Must hurt. So many coins. Oh, they're all up, but they're like on... so volatile, huh? Man. Bitcoin is moving in like the $1,000 ranges now. Like it moves in $100 ranges now. It's the power of compounding interest. Craziness, huh? Crazy. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the live stream. Thank you very much for joining. Please make sure to hit that like button if we want to get started. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would appreciate it. Thank you. YouTube is... Man, I don't know. Some days I'm just like, what's the point of doing YouTube? But I just do it for you guys and girls. Man, XRP hit 1,000 almost on Upbit. It's crazy. Volume's super high too. Hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we already hit it. Okay. Well, we're gonna start now. Let me remove that text. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the live stream. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic week. It's Wednesday now. We are having Bitcoin moving to the upside. Bitcoin is now at $87,750. So, if we're going to count the current, well, first of all, let's kind of recap of where we stand, right? We've been talking about this for forever, right? We originally talked about some kind of diagonal idea. We disregarded that idea quite early, right? You know, once we started going up like this, I thought, you know, the diagonal idea doesn't seem right. I think a lot of people started to adopt that. We got on the right boat, talked about, okay, maybe it is really the time for the expansion phase to happen, right? And we got this. So, phenomenal move off of these lows over here. How much did we move up? 34%. Okay, so that's still quite a way up, huh? But to just quickly recap, we were talking about the possibility of having these nested 1-2 ideas. And you can see there was so much back and forth. We were talking about the diagonal idea. People hated that idea, right? And then people started adopting that idea of the diagonal. And then I thought, you know, it just doesn't seem to fit into that market psychology. So what we did was we swapped bias immediately. We went into the impulsive scenario, right? And now people are saying they don't like the 1-2 ideas. So what do you like? You don't like anything, huh? Okay, just stay on the sidelines forever then. But yeah, this is we've been talking about this idea for quite some. It still doesn't have the best look. I mean, it's still kind of developing, and right now it's basically this accumulation phase we've been talking about is now just in the beginning works of this breakout, right? So we're still looking for higher levels of around these levels here. I mean, again, this is not drawn to scale. We don't know exactly how it's going to play out. We're still in price discovery, which is both concerning and both amusing at the same time, right? It's quite unbelievable that we're now trading around $80,000 or $90,000 earlier today. And it's a true feat, right? It's kind of crazy to see BTC trading at these levels. Now, deep down, there's going to be a few types of groups here. You know, there's people who are sidelined thinking, oh man, when is BTC going to dip? I want to get back in, right? Raise your hand if that's you. And second, it's you're in a position, you're in a good position, but now you're worried and you're not sure when it's going to end, right? So yeah, it's like you're in that position of, should I sell? Should I wait? What should I do? You know, did you want to learn from your past mistakes from the previous bear market? And you never know when the bear market's going to come, right? It's right behind our backs, right? And then there are the bears who are fathomably getting destroyed. I for some reason, this level does look enticing for at least a short-term pullback. We're going to get over the shorter time frames quite soon. But at the same time, you know, with all those combined, that's what is creating the whole liquidity within the markets right now. It's quite insane to see what's happening right now in the markets, right? And we don't know what's going to happen. It's just as simple as that. And that's the nature of the expansion phase. You just don't know what type of pullback is going to happen, right? Until that actually happens. That's just both the beauty and the drawdown of the expansion phase. But you guys been warned, you know, this whole expansion phase here is the follow-up of what we saw here, the accumulation phase, right? We've been talking about this for months. And, you know, there's no worry. There's always going to be opportunities within the markets, you know? It's a zero-sum game, and I've mentioned this in the, you know, couple of past videos. I've also mentioned that it is a zero-sum game. You know, shorts are going to get liquidated, and just the same amount of longs got liquidated within this region here, because this drawdown alone, you know, with this vast wild range that we had, is 33% as well, right? But again, from these lows to these lows here, or this high here, is an 82% move. I would say there's no more liquidity wall basically for shorts. So that's why we need a distribution phase. We need distribution to be built. We need a true distribution range to be built to see what kind of real true pullback we're going to be getting. So with that being said, Bitcoin is now moving in the hundreds of dollars now. It's every $100 within this range was extremely price sensitive. But this right now, you know, just from the current top to this low over here, that's a huge $6,000, $7,000 move, right? Over here, that would be detrimental, but here is just, that's the power of compounding interest. So that's just something to keep in mind. It does get a lot more volatile, and the more we move up, the more it would favor the shorts if the bear market were to come. And now it gets a lot more difficult to increase your Bitcoin portfolio, because it's far easier to go from $80,000 to $160,000 than it is from, you know, our previous low at $15,000 all the way up to where we're at right now. That's the power of compound interest. So, yeah, it's just a true phenomenal feat of where we're currently positioned. Now, let's talk about the current situation of where we're in right now. Let's talk about this because it's pretty clear this move here is now complete. Now, to me, I still think that we have a pretty clear nested 1-2s being created here. And, you know, with all of this move here, I think that it's so hard. It's just a matter of the game. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's just whether we get that pullback now or at a later stage shouldn't be too much of a concern. I would say at this point, it's just, okay, if we get the pullback, we got to accumulate as much BTC as we can and try to maximize of what we could make out of this current run that we're having for this fifth wave. Because that does bring me back to the point that I still do believe we are in a massive fifth wave to the upside. Massive, of course, being relative in terms of the current range. But overall, on the macro scale, if we look at my current count, if you guys haven't watched my previous video on my updated counts for how we're seeing Bitcoin, please make sure to watch my latest video as well. I do go over all the counts, and I'll go over that very briefly here as well, because I think it's quite important to talk about from a top-down analysis, right? So if we look at the weekly chart, it's still on track. It's comically amusing because it's still on track. Bitcoin has fulfilled and also obeyed itself in terms of the schedule. We were ahead of schedule for this fourth halvening. However, it's still relatively all going accordingly to the schedule, meaning that we do have the pairs of 5s and 3s quite aligned nicely. So from a technical perspective, we haven't seen this happen whatsoever, but I guess it's just going to continue to rhyme going forward, right? I mean, again, price action, historical price action, that is not indicative of future price action. So we just got to continue with the flow until it doesn't, right? And if that's the case, this five wave, this five wave is exactly what we're going to be looking for. So we are in that lower spectrum of getting into possibly transitioning into the next bear market. Now, bear market is relative in terms of the overall market structure, because a 70% pullback is not something to mess around with. It's a huge pullback, of course, right? But again, it's not as relative to the people who have bought around $15,000 or from $3,000 back in the previous bull markets, right? So we want to also be able to speak to the group of people who is also interested in getting and maximizing or having a better efficient position for the next preparation of the next bull market, right? Which is going to be this next five-wave move to the upside, as opposed to this current minor degree we may be in. So that's the current situation of this. If we're going to be following the same strict diet and schedule of what Bitcoin has been presenting to us, and we just take into faith that Bitcoin is going to be following the same kind of pursuit of the bull markets with these halvings in mind, then that's something to definitely keep in mind, that we will be getting a bear market as well. Now, many people don't want to hear this, as they didn't want to hear me saying that we were going to go into a bull market back at $15,000 to the $19,000 regions. Again, it's all on record, ladies and gentlemen. If you go to my trading view, I've been talking about this. I have this post from not only this year, but also a few years back. You can see that we've been calling this since $19,000, and whatever way you want to count it, I still think that we're still in a hybrid of a five-wave move to the upside, whether it's completing for a larger cycle, wave 5, and then we go for a super cycle degree, wave 2 to the downside. This count has, of course, it's still valid. I just think that there is a better way to kind of seek the answers using with the current market psychology, what kind of dumb money is flowing into the markets. But then that's just how I'm currently seeing the markets. I still think that we will get a larger pullback that will be significant, and we will be seeing some kind of 70% pullback, at least if we're going to be following this schedule. Now, this next idea is very, very, it's not only creative, but it does mount a lot of the evidence in terms of the market psychology aspect. And that's one of my kind of pet peeves of the market. I don't know if that's the right term to use, but I do like to go into or go in depth for how market psychology does tie into the Elliott wave theory. After all, it is an observation, right? So if in the case that this whole move up was not series of 1-2s, because again, that is the major drawdown of the major 1-2-1-2 count. Now, the 1-2-1-2 count is that it means it can go for infinite. And of course, no one is going to want to believe that something goes infinite. But with Bitcoin, for the past decade, since its inception, it's just been going infinite, basically, right? it's been following the series of fives and the pullbacks, expected pullbacks after the halving, and then we have a pullback and then it continue and the next halving happens, right? So that's what created the scarcity. And if that's not the case and we develop into what could be the market maturity theory, something that I am fond of as well, is that this whole move here, even though we may be creating new highs, it will be a wild volatile range, meaning that we are now finally in that slowdown phase. Number one, I think that dumb money is not as prevalent as we have seen back from this previous bear market, or the bull market rather. And it's kind of being witnessed or observed right now in the current markets. A lot of people are extremely happy, but we're not seeing the true retail talk about Bitcoin right now. I think a lot of people are still angry about Bitcoin in general because a lot of people got burned in the previous bear market. They still don't have that fulfilled trust in Bitcoin from a retail perspective. So it kind of makes me wonder, is it recycled capital coming back into the market? Is it people who are categorized as people who got burned in the previous bear market, but they want to take another stab at it? Maybe they're already positioned and they kind of understand what's happening within the markets. And number two, the markets are far smarter this time, meaning that not only from technical analysis perspective, fundamentally, I think quite a amount of people know what a Bitcoin is at this stage, right? You know, people all around the world know what a Bitcoin is. So it does give that sense that Bitcoin is a known asset and people are quite smart about what they know about Bitcoin. So you can then subcategorize those two, that kind of group of people where, you know, if they know what Bitcoin is, they know that either Bitcoin's going to go up or they're still skeptical and they're ready to buy the dips at a significant dip level. And this idea kind of portrays that idea. So that's going to be all tied together with the observation of what kind of patterns are going to be tied into the current market psychology with that in mind. So if that's the case, we're going to be treating this whole move as a diagonal. Now, this move here during that pandemic crash is going to be treated as a sideways range. I think it's arguably a pretty good looking structure as a sideways range. We did have a wild volatile range and it did move in three-wave corrective structures, right? So this move here could be treated as a wave 4 rather. Now, this move here then would have to be treated as an ABC, or a three-wave move going into that first subwave 1. This here, WXYXZ going into a wave 2, WXY going into that subwave 3, which is now pretty soon to be concluding. Now, we will get a few more answers within the coming months or possibly weeks in terms of how this next ABC is going to be developing. But if we do find significant pullback and then we get another move to the upside, then that is going to be treating us with the possibility of this being a corrective move rather than an impulsive move where we just continue up on schedule like we had for that first scenario. So if that's the case, this idea fits far better for those who are skeptics with the current market, but it also helps people who are wanting to be a bull as well at the same time. I think that's the best way to categorize it, because there is one anomaly within the halving idea, meaning that there is only one thing that didn't get respected in this previous bear market, which is this wave 1-2. Now, if we're treating these as a series of 1-2s, every single bear market was either treated as a WXY or an ABC. Now, this previous bear market, as rare as it is for a pattern of the Elliott wave pattern, is that we had a WXYXZ. I can't really fit in a fitted, or unless it's forced, a WXY or an ABC. It just doesn't fit. A lot of these overlaps were respected as three-wave moves. So that's why this is the only anomaly within the current or the past bear market to be treated as some kind of anomaly within as a corrective move. But we did fulfill somewhat the expectation of the expected pullback in terms of the percentage. We had a 76% pullback. So that does give the idea that this may now be in the expansion phase as well, because the pullbacks are getting quite shallow in nature as well, where the previous bear markets all respected that 80 to 90% pullback, right? So that is that, but within the diagonal idea, we're just coiling up, and that's the whole aspect of how the diagonal works. It's a coiling up pattern where we have a contracting wedge, and markets, there's equilibrium within each of these phases here, and then eventually, once you start reaching the apex, either an overshoot or however the volume wants to react at these levels, is that we'll finally have a retracement. Now, what would happen after that retracement, if this is a cycle wave 1 that terminates, is that we will retrace most of the diagonal again in theory. And that would be coming back down to these levels here, and then eventually having a bear market rally, okay? Then we would have that partner leg for this wave A, and that would bring us down to the $10,000 or $6,000 levels. Funny enough, is that this whole move down is still extremely bullish. That is the sad thing for the bulls. It's really interesting because this is still extremely bullish, ladies and gentlemen. Even if we came down to $6,000, it would be still extremely bullish. That's just how it is. You would still be in that distribution range from the 2 bear markets ago. That's all. It's really amusing because even if we did such a large pullback, then we would still be bullish. It's just the nature of the game. It's still bullish, but it's something to keep in mind because that would really, really be a detrimental dent in all of the people who has been buying Bitcoin at these levels here. So again, it's all going to be tying together quite soon within the next year or two that, imagine buying Bitcoin here, going into a coma, and you're in your hospital bed and you're still asleep right now. You wake up, you see Bitcoin at $120,000, then you go back into a coma, then you go to a coma for the next few years, and then you wake up and Bitcoin's back at $5,000 at break even. That would be crazy. That's what I'm saying. That's why these people here who bought Bitcoin, they're still at risk. There's still some merit to this account, ladies and gentlemen. There are people who may think that, okay, maybe Bitcoin, is going to go up forever. You may be wrong. You don't know. Bitcoin did a 60% drop at one time, and that's why I actually put up a post on X about what do you think is going to be the next Black Swan event? And I can't think of any Black Swan event, but I'm sure that will be tied into the next few years, and I'm sure we will have some kind of Black Swan event coming forward, right? So I think that's how I'm going to see it. This would be a very interesting count to take into consideration where everything is now being treated as 3 waves to the upside. And even though we are creating new all-time highs, even though we are creating new highs within the weeks, it's still working correctively, and it's absolutely possible. And that's the market maturity theory, where we're slowing down the curve and we're finally ready to go create the rainbow now instead, where it's going to come up and then it's ready to come back down. So, the saying goes, nothing goes up forever, but also nothing goes down forever. So maybe it's time that nothing goes up forever. And I think the best thing is that new money or dumb money, there's no real theoretical approach. So many tinfoil hat theories are out there right now, and I would just kind of disregard them. But one thing's for sure, in terms of the market liquidity, the money that's coming, or the new capital that's coming into the market, may be just recycled money. I think that's the best way I can kind of currently see the markets, especially if it's moving correctively. So that brings me into the current count of the shorter time frames. Let's talk about where we're sitting. And now it's a completely different perspective, right? Because we're on the shorter time frames. So my view is going to be completely different again. We're still working with the idea of these 1-2s. Now, we're going to have to zoom in even further, since this move up here does now look like a completed wave to the upside, 5 waves to the upside, whether it's going into wave 3 or this wave 1. That is absolutely impossible to No, but we can kind of narrow it down with the Fibonacci levels, and I do have 3 scenarios that come into mind. Now, the first idea here is that we're now finally working in the intermediate degree, and we're still working in that primary wave 3, okay? So that means that this wave 1, 2 is now still in the works for that wave 3 to the upside. This move here is now working in wave 3 as well. We're now focusing on this being the primary wave 3, 4, 5. That's the whole expansion phase that we're trying to focus on, okay? Most of the work will be done in this current range. So I do think that there is pretty good merit that there can be a completed 5 wave to the upside. Excuse me. And we could be looking for a wave 2 to the downside, all right? Now, wave 2's in characteristic will be a sharp pullback regardless. This is what I'm kind of secretly hoping for. 38.2%, very minimum 23.6%, all the way down to the 50 and to the 61.8%. But at that point, you know, who knows if that's even going to be the case. But it's absolutely possible. Because all-time high is just right around that Fibonacci level if this is an established top. Now, this idea is also, if we zoom in further, is the only way I'm currently counting it, if we're seeing it this way, where we do have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and characteristically wise, according to the theory, wave 5s in commodity markets are going to be extremely strong, both in volume, both in size, and so forth. Usually wave 5s are going to be the strongest, right? So if that's the case, then we could have that merit of possibly seeing whatever corrective pullback wave 2 is going to be happening. But characteristically, usually you'll see wave 2 is coming quite deep. But since we're working in the expansion phase, we want it to be as shallow as possible. So around the 38.2% is where I would have my bets, maybe a wick down into that 50% around the $78,000. It's kind of what I'm secretly hoping for. I mean, there are so many people who are sidelined right now, and I think for me, I personally want to get into a long position at that level as well. It would be definitely a confident booster to me, even if it was a dip at that point. You know, a 10% dip would be fantastic at this current stage of the market, right? So, but if it doesn't, then it is what it is, and that leads me on to more shallow scenarios, which means that instead of seeing this as going into a wave 1, 2, where we maybe see a possible deeper pullback, is the idea of having some kind of possible sideways wave 4, where we don't have enough of a deep corrective pullback. Maybe we just correctively do sideways here, and then we finally finish off that 5th wave to the upside of this being a primary degree, and that still gives us a relatively good look. So if that's the case, wave 4 should be following suit. Flat idea, whatever you want to say, 5th, 4, 5. That would be ultimately that parabolic phase where it should theoretically conclude around the $100,000 to the $130,000, which is kind of my conservative target at this point. So yeah, that's gonna be it. If that wave 3 is in, if we're going to compare it, as you can see, it's either a wave 1, 2 or a wave 3, 4. But if we're using that wave 1, 2 idea, then it gives us a little bit more leeway room on the shorter time frames to see this wave 2 kind of pull back a little bit deeper than what we might anticipate this being a wave 4, where a wave 4, we would anticipate this being as shallow as possible and working sideways in nature, and then have that 5th wave complete, and then a wave 4 to come back. And ultimately, most of these are going to work sideways. Number one, of course, we want this to be as shallow as possible. And number two, based on alternations, a lot of the previous higher degree wave 1, 2s have already done the hard work, which is doing the corrective deeper pullbacks. And based on alternations, you want these higher degree 3, 4, 5s to be sideways in nature, okay? So with that being said, if we are in an absolute ultimate bullish scenario, I would say that even if we do not come down to these levels, if we have our termination points differently labeled, what if this is just a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5? What if we're just ultimately working in such an expansion phase right now? Bulls are fed up with the bears. Just do a middle finger to everyone and say that this is now the shallowest of 1, 2s here, and this wave 3, 4 is in play. that can be a case as well. But again, we don't know. We just simply do not know. I mean, I'm just saying it straight up. We don't know. But again, if we're comparing all of these ideas, everything eventually leads to the upside. So it's just a matter of preference, ladies and gentlemen. Really a matter of preference. But again, if I had a gun pointed to my head, I want a pullback, man. I really want one. I really want to pull back down to 79 to the $80,000 levels, but you don't know, man. You never know what happens in the wild, wild west crypto land, right? Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? Nothing we don't know about this market. We don't know anything about this market. So, yeah. And if this shallow pullback happens, we'll just see. But for sure, what I can for sure say is that we had some kind of 5-way move up completion here. I think that's the simplest way I can put it. This does look like some kind of 5-way completion to the upside, whether it is just one more micro degree to the upside of some sort, but this was definitely impulsive off the lows. So that's my way of viewing of the markets. Let's get into the questions now. Let me see. Let me pull this chat up, see if there are any questions so far. What about a flat from 15K to 90K double ABC? Now we drop at 40K and then another high next year high at 120. Oof. I don't know if this flat is what you're going to be talking about, but if we pull up an empty BTC chart, actually we can just do it here. I don't know, maybe you're talking about this as a flat here, where you have this as an ABC, and then this as the B wave, and then this as a C wave, or if you said $40,000 as your target, right? So you would essentially see this as a running flat. I don't know, man. I think a lot of people were discussing this idea when we were trading around here, right? I don't know. Are there still people talking about a flat idea here? I really don't know. It would fit horribly into any structure if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, maybe we can do it like this. If we label it as a flat, we can say that this is going into this is the peak, and it just helps us separate our higher degrees. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? This would be possibly the only way I would see it. We would treat the first leg of the move here as such. And then we would have our wave A, B, and C. And you said $40,000 as possible. I don't know why you have that as your level. But essentially, running flats on the macro, I've never seen one happen in any commodity market. So if this is the case, I don't know, man. This just looks so impulsive in nature that fitting a 3-way move here wouldn't make sense. But this does go back to my diagonal idea, because I do like to have this as a possible ABC, and then removing everything in mind, treat this as a WX and then Y. Have some kind of A, B, C. We would still have a significant pullback, possibly down to 60 or 50K. And then this would be the 3-wave structure as such. That's how I would see it personally. And that is why it also fits into my idea of the larger structure, which is this idea here of the diagonal. That's how I would fit it. This is how I would see it going into a corrective move to the upside before we get a significant pullback down to, $50,000 to the $40,000 levels. So that's how I would see it. I don't see this as a flat. I'm not even sure if the Fibonacci, I haven't even measured it, right? So if we look at the current Fibonacci retracement levels of this current high, yeah, we're already above the 138.2%. So this would deem it invalid, in my opinion, as a B wave structure. It just doesn't even fit the idea of having this as a 3-wave structure. If even in this current level, if this is a flat. Oh, okay. I think now I understand. You're asking if this may be a flat idea, right? I think it's valid from this high to this high because we still have a little bit of room left to fulfill some kind of flat idea on this. But if you're talking about this flat here, and you're treating this as a 3-way move like we did originally, the only way would be to fit this as an A, B, C of some sort. And it's already surpassing the 138.2%. The 161.8%, we do have possibilities of having this finish here, but it would really need a strong rejection to come down and treat this as an overall 3-way move. I think this just doesn't fit even the right look to me. So I would leave that idea out. I would just stick with the trend right now, and it's the bullish trend. So yeah, that's not the case for me personally. I don't see this as a flat. As much as I know you guys want a dip, but yeah, man, I mean, too late. Too late. But I am secretly hoping in the side to get some kind of dip, at least down to the $60,000 or $78,000 to the $80,000 levels. But that would bring us near to the all-time highs, right? The all-time high is around $74,000, so still leaves us above the level here. Now, don't forget, we do have a CME gap, ladies and gentlemen, so that's something to keep in mind. So that's why there's also that merit, and I'm trying to keep everything organized as best as I can. And, you know, maybe there is the possibility of this being a pullback here, and we come back up. That's perfectly in spot with that $77,000, $78,000 levels that I am secretly hoping for it to fill eventually, right? But with the crypto markets, we don't know. But then on the daily chart, it does portray enough merit that a $3,000 gap is big enough for it to act as a magnet, and usually it does eventually fill. Like, for example, this gap here, you know, even we were creating new highs, it eventually came down and filled that gap, and then filled that gap to the upside as well. And that was the most volatile, wild range that we had in quite some time. So yeah, there's a lot of merit to both ideas. But yeah, keep that in mind because we don't know. If it were to fill, again, the only way would be having some kind of internal 1-2 being complete. So if we have this as the 1-2, it doesn't even, now you see, this is why the shorter time frames doesn't look perfect as well, because we have this as a 1-2, 1-2 as well. If we pull up the counts again, you can see that's the problem. Nothing looks good, right? So if we pull this up, treating this as a 1-2, 3, 4, 5, or even a 1-2 and then another 1-2. Yeah, I mean, it's ride or die at this point. Bitcoin has to continue up and kind of disobey what the CME gaps are telling us. Markets don't make sense when it's in price discovery. It is just how it is, ladies and gentlemen. So that brings me on to our next question. Good question, though, Gabrielle. WXY from 15K. Okay, so I answered that already. Check out GLM. Imagine the smell if BTC went sub 10K after going to 250K. Possible, man. That's the idea that I gave, right? If we close a weekly candle below 74, drop 45%. I agree with that. If we do close below 74K, it would start to look bearish. Definitely. That's without a doubt, for sure. If $130,000 is your conservative target, what is your high-end target? I mean, we already discussed the idea, right? Yeah, I mean, $200,000 eventually if the diagonal idea plays out. If the halving idea happens, I mean, it can end anywhere now. Basically, it's all free for all from now. $100,000 to the $200,000 where the possible fifth wave could end. I mean, it could extend quite a bit as well. We do have a relatively good look already for 1, 2, 3, 4. So fifth wave is all free for all as well. So however it nests, however much the markets want to get in, however much FOMO there's left in the market, it's just all part of the game, and that's why I'm giving that opposing side that maybe there's just not enough fresh money to come into the markets. The person at your local McDonald's, making your hamburger, is he in Bitcoin right now? I mean, he was probably in Bitcoin a few years ago, but is he in Bitcoin right now? Who knows? They're not talking about it this time for sure. So who knows? Next time you go to McDonald's, ask the person if he's in Bitcoin. Can I look at link, chain link? Let's check some. Oh man, there's just all requests. Credible does talk. Oh man, everyone's just requesting, huh? Tesla. Bad juju. Get this running flat out of here, bro. Do you prefer to use log or linear for trend-based fib extension? Always log for me. Linear is okay, but log, because that's what the markets look at. General markets. I mean, they don't even know what linear or log is. Let's log. Always log. Can you tell when the dip will come in the next subwave 2 and XRP? He was before. And boss, one suggestion, as you mentioned now, high integrity. If they watched the whole video, Twitter, they would already know answer. Don't spend too much time, as you already explained. I can explain the way I want to, brother. All right? When I go to McDonald's, I'll tell those guys to put the fries in the bag. Those are the days, man, when McDonald's were actually fried in beef fat, when the McDonald's ice cream machines were actually working. Man, those were the days, bro. I wonder what fib extension would most likely for wave 5 based on the size of wave 1 and 3, 1.618, 2.618. So, I mean, there's an easy way to measure this if you're just trying to measure wave 5. First things first, just off of this, if we're seeing this as 5 waves up, we're pretty close to what I would say a completed wave 5. If we're just using overall symmetry and geometry. Whoa, shit, we're really close. So if we reach $98,000, whoa, how do I put the price? Oh, okay, there. If we reach $99,000, which is really pretty much $100,000, right? This would be a perfect looking 5-wave structure, basically. This would be a perfect Elliott wave fashion. This could technically end here. Our wave 5 length is going to be equal in length with our wave 1. And that's usually how you want to be looking at the overall target structure, right? What about our wave 3 target if we're taking it from here to here? It did hit the 1.618, right? Whew, this is like a perfect Elliott wave structure, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty much for a 5-wave structure. This could be a pretty practical area for a move to complete, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying we're still in price discovery. Anything is a technical 5 at this current stage in time. You don't know. But the overall markets are designed to lure in the bears and the skeptics at this current stage. And I'm telling you, those people who are giving these mega extreme bullish counts, they could get burned, you know? They'll never learn their lesson, is what I'm saying. So, again, it does have a relatively perfect looking structure as a 5-way move, if we're measuring that wave 5 target. If this is a local top, or thank you very much, just babayuv. If this is a local top, we should be ending the 3 of the 3 of the 3 of the 3 and shouldn't get another 1-2 because subsequent 1-2s would get smaller and smaller, right? And this is now clearly larger. That's true. Yeah, we're working in the expansion phase, like I've said, and that's kind of what we're talking about. But again, I'm secretly hoping for a possible pullback. I want to see Bitcoin going down to $79,000 or $78,000 levels because I really am greedy. But I don't care. Also, do you have your fib retracement extension based on log scale as well as the only charts to set it to log? Yes, both logs. Okay, now let's get over XRP now. XRP is getting quite heated. It's at 70 cents. In my opinion, it's on its way. Did it break the previous BD trend line? Looks like it did. Let's kind of... You little son of a gun. Come on. Hey, come on. All right, there we go. Looks like it did break it. It broke it with confidence. That is humongous. Prepare for what I have been talking about for the past 8,050 billion years. You know, XRP... I was just thinking about this the other day. It's older than my dog. Can you believe that? That's insane to think about. It's older than my dog. And just thinking about it like that, this shiat better go up now. It's now or never, man. If it's going to go for the move, it better move now while BTC is going up. Because this has been accumulating for the longest time, man. And I'm finally ready to get this out. I'm tired of this dunzo crap with this, man. 3, 4, we have a triangle. We have a 1-2 in action. Now, if we zoom in, it looks like it's done. We're out of here, man. I'll see you at $2 or $1 in the next few weeks is what I'm kind of assuming. Not financial advice, but I'd say we're going to at least retest the 90 cents level pretty damn soon. If this is finally ready to break out. We broke out of this in just a matter of days with this whole month range. But to all the haters, I'm sorry, but this Shiat is going to Valhalla. I'm telling you right now, if I had to choose one coin that I was going to invest into, it would be XRP at this point. And I don't know if we're going to retest this trend line, but we're already breaking out of this trend line. And to me personally, it's out of here. It's going to be a home run hit, in my opinion. I don't care what everyone says. I really don't care. I really don't care. People tried to convince me from day one, but accumulation's accumulation, man. This thing is going to $10, in my opinion. It's just how I see it. $5 at the very minimum at all-time highs. I mean, it's just how it is. Dogecoin, same thing. People thought it's not going to go up, but it is. XRP, I'm seeing the same thing. And it's not just even this coin. It's XLM as well. If we look at XLM, has even a better look. I mean, arguably a better looking structure than XRP. Really, to be honest, it has a better looking structure because it does actually fit in both the triangle and it fits in a better cycle 1-2-1-2 idea as well. And it fits in all the respective time and size degrees of the degrees as well. Really nice. Again, the only anomaly is this possible rarity of WXYZ pattern. You know, triple zigzag is quite rare, right? But it does fit in quite nicely for market psychology and market cycles intact as well. So in my opinion, XLM also portraying the same idea as XRP and also XLM showing the same kind of triangle. I would say this is en route for a massive run as well for XLM. Same thing. I mean, we just broke out of this trend line. I mean, what arguments are to be against that? I'm not sure. I mean, if we broke the invalidation of triangle, absolutely 100% in the favor of the bears. Absolutely. And I would be absolutely happy with that too because I'm kind of sick of this coin at this point, right? So why argue? I'm sure there's going to be people in the chat saying this coin is a shit coin. Did anyone say that so far? Let's check. If it's a local top, we should be at, okay. 3, 4, we should start the 4, 5 now. Possible. XRP army, let's go. After 99K, we must see ABC correction, right? We will be retesting the BD trend line. Maybe we couldn't absolutely retest the BD trend line. I'm sure there's a possibility, right? Yeah, we could retest it, man. We can retest that trend line for sure. I mean, we already did, basically. It dipped. We did it. We retested it today, basically. We hit 13 minus. So this is what I'm talking about. A lot of people are really trying to be greedy and get the most out of it, right? Sorry, man. This train is steaming right now. Steaming. It already retested it today. I would say it's already done retesting. It's on its way, in my opinion. It's just me. Just me. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin dominance of retesting 60%? Any EW of possibility there? I only drew a golden copy fib retracement from 73.5 to 39%. BTC dominance should be relatively stable at this point, right? I mean, considering... Oh, it actually shot up. I mean, it is still stable. We did a massive drop. A lot of people are already transitioned into altcoins. So, in my opinion, it doesn't matter at this point. I mean, I'm seeing a top here regardless because we've done this for years now, basically, man. Years. Accumulation for years. We're on our 4th year, basically, and I think it's ready to come down. Even if it does go up, I mean, I still think that we're going to get a major rejection at some point. It doesn't really matter. Bitcoin is still accumulating kind of in that zone of just trying to figure out where the actual resistance is. So we'll see. But, man, I am tired of XRP, dude. I am so tired of this coin. Like, I'm tired of my wife asking me if XRP went up. Like, she asks me every day, like, did you make money on XRP yet? And I'm just sitting there like, I don't know how to answer it anymore, man. I don't know how to answer it. So hopefully this year changes. Ethereum. Oh yeah, we got to go over Ethereum. Ooh. Ooh. This move here is not impulsive, so... Ay. We got a dilemma here, ladies and gentlemen, because Ethereum is still accumulating and is still in its final phase of this D wave here. WXY or ABC here. technically, theoretically, we should be getting a rejection around these levels here. We've just surpassed the 100% of this partner leg here. So the 161.8, which is aligning quite nicely with this trend line, should be getting a rejection around there, and then we move up. So Ethereum also looking quite nicely. $10,000, $7,000. Eyes, all eyes on that as well, man. I'm seeing pretty good move for Ethereum, but just in terms of risk reward management wise, it's only 230 and 300%, right? I mean, XRP, for example, if you really take into consideration of the risk reward management, it's absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. Especially if you're taking the post triangle thrust measurement, measures around $6 to $10. Minimum. $1,000, 1,000% gain. Should break the all-time highs this time, hopefully. Is it Litecoin? Same thing, man. Looking like it's gonna go up. D wave here. Can't really count this any other way right now. I can't count this as a cycle 1 2 1 2 here. I guess you can. You can say that this is a 1 2. No, because this move here is a three-way move. So yeah, I mean, it's just triangle as well. Same idea with Ethereum. I think it's lagging a little bit. ADA, same shit, man. I think it's going to go up. Filecoin, same idea here. Looking like it's going to go for a massive move to the upside. What else is there? Link? I'm thinking a lot of people are also in Link as well, right? Looks like this is out of the picture. I don't think we'll get another triple zigzag. Possibly a nested one too as well here. Unless, you know, this turns into a really rare, because it's arguably a three wave off of the lows, right? Unless this, something like this happens, which is really rare, right? This, and then we're off, which would be a 1 2. That's possibly on the case right here. But either way, we have a protected low. I think we have a protected low for Link. I think Link is on its way to the Valhalla as well. Link has one of the best looking macro structures. That, with that being said, it does really have a really well respective three wave structures in between. We had a really nice 3 or 5 wave move off of the lows. Pretty solid 3-way move here. We've been talking about this idea for quite some time. We were talking about this possible pullback since our wave 3 even, right? So beautiful. I think Link is ready to move to the upside as well, along with the other altcoins. So it's really easy, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a dartboard. Choose which one that you want to, you know, throw a random dart on the board, and if that's the altcoin that you want, then it may go up. But it's not about what could go up. It's about what goes up the most, and that's the key point of this market, right? So we'll see. We'll see. BCH, same. It should be in the same triangle, no? Let me see. Yeah, same thing. I mean, if this D wave is complete, or if not complete, and we treat this as WXY, BCH is either truncated here with this wave E and then it's moving up, or we have one more move to the downside for that wave E to go up. See, a lot of these coins are one step ahead of each other either way, right? A lot of these coins are overlapping with each other in terms of the overall structure. So that's just how I'm seeing it. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully that was helpful. I don't want to do too many requests here. I've already just gone over pretty much the main idea. It's pretty much a lot of the higher cap altcoins that are going to go for a major move to the upside. I think that's just the best way to put it, because a lot of coins right now are all going to go up regardless. It's just how it is. That's just how the market cycles work. Everything is going to go up. But What coin goes up the most is just your pick and your decision on how you want to be looking at it. In my opinion, the ones that are accumulating the most are the ones that are going to go move the strongest. It may get the most hate because it doesn't move as much, but I can guarantee you that that's they're going to eat their own words, is what I'm saying. And I know there are a few people who really hate this coin. Either that or they're hypocrites because they love this coin and they just hate it because it's not moving. Hey, I'm with you, man. I hate it too. But you got to move where the money's flowing. And right now it's all these accumulative coins. There's just so much anticipation, including me. I would be happy with even just invalidating this triangle and getting this out of the way. Really. Any way to go. I hate it, but I love it at the same time. You know? It's just like your ex-girlfriend trying to come back to you. She loves you, but she doesn't love you at the same time. You know? It's like a poisonous relationship. But in the end, the last man standing wins, and it's gonna be us, the XRP army. Anyways, I got nothing else to say, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's it. I'm gonna end the live stream here. Thank you very much for joining. Hopefully that was helpful. We'll see for Bitcoin what happens. I'll make sure to have an update, and I do have an update for the Patreon members as well. So please make sure to sign up in the link in the description below, because I will have an update for you guys later on today. And if you're interested in joining the Discord membership link is also in the description below. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Don't get wrecked. See you maybe at $1 for XRP. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.